Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript party, and my buddy Rhett. And she was kind of being spicy in the last video, and so I said I was going to put her up. And then I watched last week's web API video, and she was quiet. She was good the whole time. She still hasn't gotten a nut yet, so I still owe her a nut. Um, but she was really good, so I was like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if I do another video with her back there. Um, but yeah, so she just gave me a kiss. Um, all right, so last week we did, kind of where the thing I think that was, it's kind of funny because, okay, so I think Angular, uh, its roots are in templating. Like that was, there was a time where like it was all, everyone was trying to figure out, okay, how do you build good templates? And Angular JS was just like the winner when it came to templating. I don't know. I guess some people may argue that React was the winner, but Angular JS was awesome for templating. Um, and Angular is very, very good for templating. But but the thing that I think where Angular really shines is on components, like creating components, which is weird because that is sort of React's bread and butter. Um, Creating components. And it is strange that it seems like if Angular was trying to compete with React, which I don't think they are, but if they were trying to compete with React, made they would have spent a lot more time on like being able to export components into web components. You can, but the last time I tried, which has been a while, I think it was probably like Angular 17, maybe Angular 18. Um, the last time I tried it just was a very difficult to. It was hard. I couldn't really quite understand it. Maybe I would be able to understand it better now, but I couldn't really understand it. I did not have the use of ChatGPT at the time, so that would probably make it a lot easier. I could not figure out how to make a component, and then I couldn't figure out how to use my component out inside of Angular. I could use it outside of Angular. I could use it outside of Angular, but I could not use it inside of Angular, which was weird. Like, because I wanted to like make a web component, export it, and then import it, because I feel like it, Angular, it would be nice. It would make upgrades a lot easier if the components could be outside of the upgrade pattern. So like if all I had to do was upgrade, like maybe I have a component that I need to have in Angular 14 because Angular 14 had something that Angular 20 is different on. If it was its own project, then fine. That component's in Angular 14. Like let's say I'm using a third party widget that never got never got like they just quit. It was a great widget, but they just quit maintenance on it, and it's very unique, and I need it for my project. Um, but like it doesn't work after Angular 14. You can't use it in Angular 15 for whatever reason. Well, the nice thing about that would be that well, it's a web component, so you would be able to use it even, and you could get old your Angular 14, you could do upgrades and all that, but you would still have your Angular whatever the current one is for all the routing and basically the application itself. So I always thought it would be great to decouple the components from the website. I always thought that would be a really, really good thing. But I don't think it's quite feasible yet. It might be. It will probably be feasible at any time. But right now I don't think it is. But I should make another run at that and see what it would be because that would be really nice. Anyways, all that to say that I pulled this into its own component, and now that it's its own component, I have things that I could do, right? So, right now, I guess this result item is showing the last thing, and there's nothing in it. Um, so it seems to handle that. I don't think we have any bugs or anything. It seems to handle like an empty record. Yeah. So our results is an array of nothing. So I guess inside of the result item, there is a something that goes over the arrays and didn't find anything. So maybe we should um, add that. Let's see, app continuous result item, HTML. So we could add like a, let's line this up, add an if. And I don't know if this is exactly what we want to do, but result dot length is equal to 0. So it's weird. So result is something, but it's an array. I thought it must be an array, right? Because we're iterating over it. But for some reason, oh, question mark? Okay. So basically that question mark, if you were to look behind the scenes at the JavaScript, is a bunch of other stuff. It checks to see if it's undefined. It's very much a shortcut. And one of the most, people were very, very happy when JavaScript added that to their thing. But I don't think that would be a JavaScript thing at this point. I think that would be a Angular template language thing, or it could possibly be a TypeScript thing. And that is one of the funny things in modern web development, is you don't necessarily always know what technology you're working with, which is really bizarre if you think about it. But anyways, TRTD, no records found. So let's see if that worked. Okay, so no records found. So that's our list of signals. Basically, we've gotten a signal, and the first signal gave us nothing. So now, oh, and I did remember what I want. I think I would like to build a application that uses this continuous technology to build flashcards. I am a strong believer in flashcards, but I've always wanted to do them on the computer and on like online and stuff, but like I find typing flashcards questions to be very, very difficult, to be just so time consuming that it's just not worth it. But if I could talk them, I think I would actually do them, so like to do it, like if I to demonstrate what I kind of plan to do, it would be like this. um, Question, answer. So there we have our question, we have our answer, right? That, so this would be on one side, and then this would be on the other side. So then I would have my flashcard. Um, it seems like that is going to be so much easier, to, even if I'm still, if I'm check, like, oh, okay, did you want this or this as the question? Click. Did you want this? Okay, so let's try this. Like, how many chucks would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? So unfortunately, I kind of messed up because I would probably want, And I guess maybe, and that's an interesting thing. I would probably want to be able to select this and then this one. So let's try it again. Is it how many chucks? Oh, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Okay, let's try that. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? None. So basically, I guess how much wood would I would like maybe get to choose from one of these or none. Like I could maybe there'd be like ignore and then one of those two and then and that would be my questions that I'd say like question complete and then maybe you record again for the answer or maybe you do it all in one thing and just check all the ones. But you see we have 61. So this is one record, but we have 61. No? We have three records. Okay, so I think records. So we have oh okay, so we have 61 signals. And each signal has multiple records, I think. So this is kind of wrong. And this is so this kind of brings up another thing, I guess since I'm in a talkie mode now, along with Rhett being in a talkie mood, um, is that like I remember one year we were working with my youngest son and we were trying to get him through AP biology. And like the first chapter of the book literally just went on and on and on. Just droned on and on and on about like just how incredibly important the microscope was and how like literally the entire science of biology changed. Like almost every belief system, every scheme, everything changed because of the microscope. That's exactly how I see UIs. And I cannot tell you how many places I've worked that like where they had a lot of disparate applications that they were maintaining. Just like a ton of them, and they would always come up with a project that usually often had something to do with the eye. So it would be the iris or focal, but usually it was some biological part of the eye that was supposed to give them visibility on how all the applications worked um, together and stuff. Um, and that's why it's so important. What is that sound? What is that sound? Okay, that makes up for it. That was a nice kiss. That was crazy. But so this is, I say, view all 61 records, but that implies that these are records. These are not records. They are records in the generic meaning of checkers records, but it's not. We have um, 61 signals. We have three records. We have um, I guess it's like and 61. That was weird that it had a problem with this. I wonder what that's about. Anyways, uh, signals. So let's see. Let's try that on. The answer is in the wind. So yeah, I would choose one of these. So it would be that one, and then one of these to be the result. Um, and if we could just make all like hundreds of flashcards, then you have that basic data that then you can start like adding all kinds of other features. But that was like a primary piece of like data, and it'd be nice. It'd be fun. It would be fun to like get a Harry Potter book and just start reading and make flashcards as you read it. Oh, what did Hermione say the first time that Harry Potter that she met Harry? Stuff like that. Like just it would be so cool, and then you could, uh, yeah. So I think that would be a great use of this technology um, for gathering data. I think the voice technology in general is probably best suited for gathering data. Secondarily suited, and and probably more importantly, suited for like people who don't have, like who only have voice as a way of community, like disabled people who can't use their hands and stuff. Like it's probably way more important for that, like because like that's their only way of doing things. So this technology could be incredibly useful for them. I also think that the discrete more than this continuous um, would be very, very useful for people with speech impediments so that they could practice in the privacy of their own home. And I do think that it gives them um, like it's in some ways more real, like because it will recognize it even if you do say it wrong. If it recognizes that you said it wrong, it may be okay. Like if every time you say sing instead of thing, or thing instead of sing. I don't know which. I think it is sing instead of thing, and it's like, oh, I think you might have said thing. I think that's a pretty good indicator that you'll be okay walking around in society, and you go, I think some sing is wrong, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, okay, I know what you mean. Oh, can you go get me that sing? Like people might be a little judgy of you, but you'll be okay. You'll be able to get stuff done. But anyways, but for discrete, I think I want to build out like something that lets you say hello, the formal and informal, different versions of hello in hundreds of languages. I think that would be really cool. Um, but anyways, so now we have 16 signals. We have two records, and this is the first signal, right? So those are concepts um, that we couldn't even like mentally understand. But now we know. Well, we're actually looking at the 16th signal, right? Okay, because we are looking at the last one. So really, it's like this: viewing signal, and signal is a fully Angular thing, whereas the records are a fully voice API thing. Um, Viewing signal, and it's going to be all request length, right? And then there are, and then I guess we want to put like a break or something like that for now. We'll probably put it in a div, but and I guess it's of, and I guess that will be interesting because it is the same number. And that, and like I just take it for granted. It's so easy just to take it for granted now that we understand that there's 16 signals and that this signal happens to have two records in it. That was not, that concept, that whole thing doesn't even work. Doesn't that ex- doesn't exist in discrete. And now it fully exists in continuous, and now it's really easy to understand because of the UI. And there would be a lot of technologies where they would want to build something using voice and never have any UI at all. There's no UI. So now you don't really can't really understand what's going on. And that's what um, so we're viewing our one signal of one signals. I think people usually put like a parenthesis around here. And that indicates it could be one or many signals. And then there's 0 records. And then um, what was the shape of Harry's scar? Lightning. That is interesting. Lightning. I would imagine this is making something from darker to lighter, and then lightning. I think this is the answer. Her scar. And so, and I probably another thing I'd want to add is, would you like to capitalize the first one, and then put a period at the end of the next one? But and then I can't express enough like how, like once you created all this stuff, then you could build like a crossword puzzle generator that generates crossword puzzles based on these things. You could create all kinds of different things that from this core data that is easy to collect. Um, and like the right people would be able to take that and turn it into a profitable business. Um, so, anyways, that is that. Okay, so 1 of 19 signals. So I guess I don't know. I don't think viewing all makes sense now that we see it this way. I think you would just want to see like the next one and the previous one if you're not first. So basically, if we're at the last one, but if there's more than one, then or if there's one that's greater than all that. I guess I shouldn't have put it that way. So basically, we should add paging. That's the 30,000 foot view of this. But we should add like the ability to for it to know if there is a next page, and if there is, then it should print out next. And if there isn't, then it should probably have the next but muted so that you can't, so that it's there and things don't slide around. But and then if you're not on the first page, it should be the if you're on the first page, it should probably be say previous but muted, and the hand doesn't work. And if it is, then it should be say previous and have the hand there. And then if you what's the next thing? I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, and then and then this item that it uses should go back. We had a current item, we should probably have a current item, and then that current item is what gets put in here. So that will be a good thing to do tomorrow. um I do this has been such a journey, right? That was just very eye opening, going from discrete to continuous, and then just the absolute confusion that came from that um, was just mind boggling. But once that's done, though, now that I think about it, we also will need to get this guy working. So basically, if you come over here, you can select, yeah, things like this drive me nuts. So apparently the problem is with this is that, and this is apparently an Angular material issue, um, is that when this thing popped up, the item that we tried to focus on didn't exist yet. And then it did exist after a little bit, And so, but apparently when it first attempted to put the focus on this, it failed. So we get this little error, but everything works. But I think, maybe, well, yeah, okay, yeah. So, yeah, we want to be able to add different languages, and then I believe Max Alternatives is still a thing over there. And then once we have that, I think we can just use all these exact same things. Then we also I want to circle back and get this concept that they have, which is like a text area box, or which is like a list of grammars. So that's words that it should be looking for. Um, so, and I believe if we were to add grammars, like so, if I do this, hello, so I got five results, and they're weird, right? But I think if all I had was one grammar and it was hello, then these wouldn't come. I think. I don't know that. Now, it's weird to me because when we come over here, let's just reload. I don't think it matters, but hello. See, it's weird to me. So we did not get five different hellos. All we got was hello. I do not, and that is why this viewer that I'm building is so important. Because if you're trying to build something on this, which you're probably not, because apparently this only works in, I guess it'd be easy enough to test now. Supposedly it only works in Chrome, which I guess means it works in Edge, but does not, I don't think it works in Firefox. Holy cow, I do not even have Firefox installed. Oh, yeah, I don't have Firefox installed. I have Edge, but I'm pretty sure it will work in Edge because Edge is built off of Chrome. I think that's Copilot. Edge. And like, I know developers, even young developers, that like will only use Vim, which is um, so this is Edge, which is a editor that people used to use like back in the 1980s, in the 70s, um, and they love it, and they've refused to even move to Visual Studio, and like they just can't do a lot of things. That's exactly where we are with like AI. We're gonna have to use it. I think Copilot is a bit too deep. Um, Copilot has way too much context. Like you can't. But like, so I remember back in the '90s, I used to get work, and they would be like, write XYZ code and do not go to like any websites and copy code because we need this to be our own proprietary code, and we don't want to get sued in the future for using somebody else's code. And it was just like, that's not even a thought anymore, but that used to be a thought. Hello. Oh, hello. Hello. Okay, so that's good. Now it's interesting because I only got one hello and I got zero confidence. So it is working different. Hello. Yeah. How are you? Wow, so that put the question mark in there. Does this one? How are you? Yeah, isn't that, guys? I would never, ever, 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 ever in a million years have expected this. Like it put a period on the hello. Hello. This one gave me five alternatives. And I thought it was supposed to be off of all of this was supposed to be like handed off to the OS, and then the OS would give responses back, right? So if that was the actual true case, then I don't think we would get different results here. Or if we are getting different results, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I will say that um, this goes to show how important this tool is. Like this tool, like you would never effing in a million years be able to explain that if you did not have a tool like this to, or even understand it. Like, no, of course, Microsoft Edge only returns one value and it puts punctuation in. I wonder if continuous works different. Because based on that, it seems like this might actually work better for my flashcards. Okay, what color is Ron's hair? Red. Oh, so that worked out really nice because it put the capital in there, put the question mark in there. Um, it it didn't give me all those weird results. Like, what color is Ron's hair? Red. That is interesting. See, that is more accurate. But, and it is weird that it capitalized Ron. It's weird that it gave me this Ron hair. Like, I don't know why. I'm pretty sure I enunciated and it makes no sense. So, yeah, it looks like it would actually work better, at least on my computer, for in Edge than it would work in Chrome. And my understanding is it doesn't work in Firefox or Safari at all, but I don't know. Um, but with this tool, it would be, we saw how easy it was to test it in Chrome, and it would be very simple to. Oh, I do have DuckDuckGo. That's a browser. I don't use it very often. I think it's like the most secure browser. I think that's the reason it is popular. So localhost. I don't know if it is even Chromium. It may be Chromium based as well. What color is what color is Ron's hair? Red. Okay, so that didn't work at all. Hello. Yeah, so it doesn't work. I don't know why it wouldn't work. I mean, we could argue all day long about, like, we could sit in a meeting and just argue with each other over whether it would work in DuckDuckGo. But with this tool, we can just check it. So, anyways, I do think that the tool is absolutely invaluable if you're going to do this stuff. And I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to start working on paging. And then as soon as paging is done, I'll probably start working on the pop-up. And first we'll just get this one. We'll just basically reuse this, I think. Because I think I think we can even right now, like, I don't know any words in that, but hola, ¿cómo estás? So yeah, so it knew Spanish. Hello, how are you? Oh, so that's interesting. So it doesn't seem to. Is it konnichiwa? Konnichiwa? Konnichiwa. Okay, so it doesn't seem to care what. it seems to just take care of languages itself, which is not what I would ever expected. Konnichiwa. See, like, let's go back to English. Konnichiwa. Let's see. Spanish, it was like that. Yeah, see, I feel like it used to care about this. It would be like something completely goofy. Um, Hola. See, like, hola, ¿cómo estás? Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird that oh, it's still, maybe I hit it twice. Hola, ¿cómo estás? And then, but yeah, so that's cool. I think, I think that these different applications are going to be good. I think paging is going to be nice. That'll be really interesting to see what happens when you page, and it'll actually be very interesting to see what happens in Edge. Um, and then it seems like Edge is less, doesn't seem to have as much stuff, but I don't know. Like maybe it doesn't return as much noise, and it seems to be more accurate, and it definitely does um, capitalization and all of that a lot better than Chrome. Um, I would never have guessed that. Like, I mean, I can't even freaking contemplate why that would be. Um, but it does. And WTF. That's all I got to say. Let's see. WTF. Yeah. So, and it was like, oh, I know exactly what you're saying. Let's try this one. WTF. So yeah, this. Now that's weird because generally, um, the discrete one kind of gave more sort of options than the continuous, but in this case, continuous gave more options back. Who knows? Um, so, anyways, yeah, that's all the kind of stuff that's good to know about. Probably kind of stuff that like might scare like an investor off, or like if you were trying to, if you're like, oh, we want to build out this thing, and they start seeing these issues, they're probably not likely to want to get and invest company time or money into. But anyways, yeah, tomorrow we'll do paging. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.